Hey, Dawn. Welcome to the 100th episode of the Power and Purpose podcast.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited to be here anyway, but to be number 100, I'm
I
like, girl,
know.
let's celebrate. Congratulations. That is so
Thank you.
exciting.
Oh my
Thanks for
gosh.
having me.
Yes, this has been such a labor of love, this podcast. And, I knew I had to do something special and big for the 100th episode. And I'm going to be honest. I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do for the 100th episode. What are we going to do? It's so much pressure. It needs to be fabulous. And then instantly I was like, you know what? I'm just going to invite Dawn to come on the podcast. And she's my new business BFF. She's so smart. She has great energy. And I'm going to celebrate this milestone with somebody I care about. So thanks for being a guest today.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Before we get into this crazy topic of AI and all of the interesting details around AI and how it might be able to help our business, also some of the implications when it comes to AI, I feel like we have so much to talk about. I want to celebrate this moment properly. So Dawn and I are going to celebrate 100 episodes. We invite you to join us in some capacity. Whether you can run to your liquor cabinet and go pour yourself a shot, which is what we're going to do. We're doing shots of tequila.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. If you're watching the video of this, you can see how fancy Dawn's shot is. She has a beautiful shot glass. She has salted rim. She ran to the grocery store this morning to get limes for this moment.
Did you know that there's a margarita glass in my logo?
Oh, there is?
There is. This is very on brand for me. So when you're like, hey,
Oh.
can we share a shot? I was like, yes, absolutely, we can. I don't care that it's 11 a.m. here in San Antonio. I will absolutely go to the grocery
that I have
store.
Kids to deal with for the rest of the day. Like, fuck it. Let's do it.
Fine.
Well, if you can see how bougie Dawn's shot is, mine, not so much. I'm using a shot glass that we got from someone's wedding, Marta and Nick. Happy wedding anniversary to y'all.
What a great
But I am
gift.
drinking Casamigos tequila, which is my favorite.
That's my favorite too. That's exactly
Yay.
what I have.
Oh my God,
Casamigos,
twins.
always.
I love it. All right, well, we're going to do this shot to celebrate 100 episodes. We invite you to take your own proverbial shot along with us to celebrate. Cheers.
To 100 episodes, my friend.
To 100.
Woo! Nothing like a tequila chaser for your coffee.
Oh my God, we were just talking about that. Listen, you get to a certain age
Congratulations.
thank you. Where you can't layer alcohol with other foods or beverages. Coffee being one of those things where it's like, I love a cup of coffee. I find it relaxing. So I would love to have a cup of coffee right now, but I can't do it. It's going to have to.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's good for any of us. If anybody else wants to try that for us, let us know.
Yeah. We're leaving it in your capable hands. Well, Dawn, I'm so excited for today's episode. AI has been literally all anybody is really talking about. Whether you are reading blogs, you're on YouTube, everything is about ChatGPT and all different AI tech tools, which if your head is spinning already and it's not because of tequila, but because you don't know what the hell we're talking about, we're going to break it down for you from the simplest level and then get into some advanced AI topics. But everywhere I look, I feel like people are talking about this.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just evolving so quickly. When you and I met in January at the Creative Educator Conference, the tools that we talked about then are already different than the tools that we're talking about today. And it's like only been a few weeks. It is wild how fast this world is moving.
It's crazy. And everybody's talking about it. Even people's dads I follow I'm friends with on Facebook, like the most random people are talking about AI and how it's being used. So if you haven't really heard a lot about this, I think maybe you might be not online very often, or maybe your circles, you're just not following the right people. But I encourage you to actually dig into some of this. We're going to talk about it today, but I encourage you to look into it and do your own research a little bit further on how AI can help your wedding business and how you plan to use it, because I think this is here to stay, whether we like it or not. So first, can you explain what AI is?
Absolutely. So the definition of AI, so AI stands for artificial intelligence, is a simulation of human intelligence and decision-making by a machine. So this is different than automations. AI is a type of automation, but not all automations are AI. So I see that out there a lot. People are using
Mm.
the word AI to describe an automation, and that's not the case. Now, the difference between the two, automations perform tasks based on a set rules and information that it's given. And while AI does also perform tasks, it learns from its mistakes. It makes decisions
Mm.
based off of the environment that it's in and the situation that it's in. So it is evolving over time. Now, something really interesting about AI, we're talking about like it's so visible right now and everybody's talking about it. It's actually been around for years.
Mm.
AI is what is powering what Netflix decides to tell you what you might be interested in. It's really
Mm.
powerful in ad marketing. And we've talked about the algorithm for years. And that's actually a type of artificial intelligence called machine learning. So AI is not really new to us. It's just new to us in terms of a way that we can utilize it in our businesses. So when
Mhm.
ChatGPT came around in the last few months, that was like the first time there was a public interface on this technology, and people got to use it and experience it for the first time. And since ChatGPT has come to the forefront, we have a whole new wave of tools and technology that is at our disposal because of how ChatGPT introduced it to us, and now we can utilize it. It's
Oh my
really
God.
exciting.
I know it spread like wildfire, ChatGPT. You had
Mhm.
mentioned it at the conference, and then I left Dallas and it was everywhere. I was wondering if is it like one of those things where you buy a car and then you see it everywhere and you're like, what the fuck? Why is everybody
Yeah.
now buying my car? Or
Yeah.
if it really did just suddenly was everywhere after that conference, but it literally blew up. Just a little side question that I'm curious of your opinion on.
Mhm.
Once ChatGPT really started to take over, and ChatGPT is just this AI tool where you can ask it to do things like, hey, write me a blog post. Hey, write this email for me. Write my resume. There's so many things it can do.
Oh, yeah.
Um, do you think that because once that was released, so many other AI tools came to the forefront, from Google to Notion to all these other things that we might use in our everyday? Do you think that ChatGPT pushed some people to release their technology earlier?
Well, so a lot of these tools are actually using GPT behind the scenes.
Oh.
So some of them, yes, very much so. It kind of gave them the boost that they need to
Mm.
um, offer this to people. Now, I also think that technology is a race and nobody wants to
Mm.
be left behind. And so I think it was expected to see all of these big companies like follow very quickly because they don't want to be left behind. Google does not want to be left behind. Microsoft doesn't want to be left behind. Notion, Canva, all of these tools are now offering these AI tools that might have a chat GPT backbone, but also they might have their own algorithms and things that are evolving to the way that they want to use it. So again, it's technology is moving. They have the tools, they have the resources now. So now they're taking it and making it their own. And it's just the start. It's going to
Oh,
get
yeah.
even crazier.
Oh, well, I think hopefully we'll talk about your
Oh,
predictions
yeah.
maybe for what this is going to look like. And as you mentioned that it's existed already, that got me thinking that AI is built even into Gmail when you're writing emails and there's like this predictive text that is predicting what you should or what you want to write next. That has
Mhm.
got to be a form of the AI we're also talking about here, yeah?
Absolutely. And because it's predicting not necessarily just the word, but it's giving you a word in the context of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Another great example of AI that we might be a little bit more familiar with are things like self-driving cars. So like your
Mm-hmm.
Tesla's autopilot, that technology is making decisions based off of the environment around it. It's not just an automation. It's not automatically going from point A to point B without considering the things in front of it. So we have been experiencing this in many different ways. It's just all of a sudden now it's available to our businesses. And
Mm.
that's where, for us as business owners, we're like, oh, wait, hold on. Like this is changing the game here. That self-driving car might not change the game of my wedding business, but this
Yeah.
is.
Oh, for sure. I've really started using it, and I'll share later in a couple of fun different ways that I've discovered to use it. But it is definitely going to change how we do things as wedding industry pros, both marketing our business and just in the everyday operations of running a business in this industry. So that leads me to my next question. I feel like we understand what AI is. Let's talk about some specific ways that you can use it to improve the planning process working with your clients.
Absolutely. Okay. Everybody got your coffee or your tequila? Because let's sit back and let's talk about this, because there's so
Settle
many
in.
different ways. So many different ways. So grab that drink, friends. So I love to think of AI as a way to tackle the mundane tasks in your business so you can focus your time and your energy on your zone of genius, your true talent. You know, our clients didn't hire us to be the task rabbit, right? Like, we're not there just to answer these little emails. We're not there to create these tiny little blog posts. We're here to create an amazing experience for our clients. And this is going to give us more time and more freedom to do that because those mundane but necessary tasks are being taken care of. So when it comes to the wedding industry, and I am a former wedding photographer myself, I shot my last wedding in October. So I'm right there in the thick of it with you guys. Thanks. I know. Yeah. I've been in the thick of it. I've been through the world of COVID with the wedding industry. So I am fully understanding of what you guys are dealing with as wedding planners. But in the wedding industry, AI really has like 4 primary areas that I like to focus on. One being content, one being admin and communication. So admin, communication, and media. So there's actually 3. I put admin and communication together. Now, before I dive into these, though, I do want to give a disclaimer. Whenever you're looking at a new tool, and especially an AI tool, please do your own research and please make sure you look at their privacy policies to make sure that your data is safe and all of these things. So use this to your own discretion. Me talking about it is not the end all be all. Like, this is the best tool in the world. Go use it right now. So please take your own time and your own discretion to decide whether or not you're going to use these tools. But first, let's talk about content creation, because that's the popular one. That's the one that people are talking about. We've already talked about ChatGPT a little bit. But content creation AI can help a wedding planner with things like generating blog posts, email series, writing that email that might be a little difficult to write. Maybe you're trying to decline a client, or maybe you don't agree to changes that they've made to your contract. Website copy, social media captions, scripts for podcast episodes, all of these different things. So lots of opportunity for content creation. But when it comes to this content creation, I absolutely recommend using these tools. But if you plan to take these tools and just copy and paste what they generate and then post it to the internet, that could be where things start to get a little gray and you're going to start to see some of the disadvantages to AI. So lean into these tools to create outlines to help it improve your own writing and really just helping that mundane, right? Maybe you stare at that blog post and it's just that blank cursor. I don't know about you, but for me, that's the hardest part, is getting that first paragraph out there. So use the tool to help you generate that, and then, use your talent and your experience to create that personalized experience in your content. So some examples of some good tools for content creation: ChatGPT. Of course, so side note here, I love using ChatGPT for my meal planning every week.
Oh,
It's one
that's
of
so
my
cool.
favorite things to do. Totally not related to work, but it kind of is, because that's less time and less brain power that you're spending on a Sunday meal planning for the week. I ask it for a 7-day meal plan that's kid friendly and doesn't have fish in it because my kids don't like fish. And it gives me that meal plan. And once I say, that sounds great, I'll say, okay, create me a shopping list from this meal plan, and it will generate me a categorized shopping list. So
Wow.
lots
So
of different ways
cool.
to use it. Another great tool that a lot of people use is Jasper. And we can talk about Jasper here in a little bit more. If you use Canva, it's already built into Canva with Canva Magic Write. It's in the document section. And then Notion AI is another really great tool that I love to use for content creation.
Yeah, I love that you are, first of all, I think this is great because it can help us to just get started in areas where we feel stuck with our marketing. I've gotten to use AI to generate 10 blog post ideas for me. I've gotten AI to generate outlines of maybe what a blog post could look like, a few Instagram reel ideas. And, I think most of us, we just need a little nudge. We just need a little momentum, and then we can take the ball and run down the field with it and come up with our own ideas. We just need a little something. And that can be the hardest part, is just getting started.
Think of it like your cup of coffee in the morning, right? Like, we're not a bad entrepreneur because we drink coffee in the morning, but it does help us get started and be our best selves. So think of AI that same way.
That's a good
And,
analogy.
another way I love to use it, let's say you already have the blog post. Okay. If I'm in Notion, so I use Notion AI a lot, I can say, create me 3 Instagram captions from this blog post and actually drop the link to my blog post in there. And it will use that link. It'll crawl that link and it will actually write me 3 Instagram captions. And again, am I going to leave it like that and copy and paste it and call it a day and use the hashtags it's using? Probably not, but it's a great start for me to get past that writer's block and to get past that overwhelm and that decision fatigue that we experience every day.
Oh yeah. Like, what do I say? What do I say now? I've
Yeah.
been saying the same shit for 10 years. What could I possibly say today that
Totally.
anybody would care about?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, so we're already talking about social media here. Another great place where AI is really popular right now is in admin and communication. So we're seeing this more and more often. Right now, if you are scrolling on Instagram, you will probably see at least one post that says, comment planner playbook on this post, and then you'll, for the link, right? Comment XYZ for the link. That is an AI chatbot. So chatbots like ManyChat and Mobile Monkey are actually approved by Meta. So you're not going to get banned for using them. But if you want to quickly get a resource to your users, you can set up these chatbots and it will either send somebody a DM when they comment with a certain thing, or when they go to send a message to you, it'll give you a few prompts that they can choose from, and it's all automated from there. Cool. There's a lot of different ways that these can be used. So ManyChat, Mobile Monkey, and Intercom are great tools for that. But there's also admin and communication tools that can be used in your team. And these tools will attach to your meeting. So they'll attach to a meeting like this, or your Zoom meeting, or your Google Meet account. They'll transcribe the meetings and say, like, Dawn said this and Candice said this. Wow. And then not only that, but it will summarize and give you action items from the meeting for you. There's another really, I know, right? Like, think how, if you didn't have to go create email follow-ups for your wedding clients, like let's say you have a consultation call, you can record that call, have this all transcribed. So not only have you had that one-on-one experience with your clients, but now you have that entire conversation in writing to reference back to. That's really helpful. You can also send that follow-up email to your clients being like, this is what we talked about. Here's the things that I'm going to do. Here's the things that are on your plate. There's another really great tool out there called Fathom. And this tool connects to Zoom, and it allows you to like create highlights of the meeting. So it'll be like, oh, if this is like a juicy, like I want to take this out to be a soundbite, it'll let you click, like it'll have a button where it starts the highlight. It'll start the highlight from when that person started talking. And then it will record it until they're done, and it saves them as separate little sound bites for you. So
that's
as
so
a
cool.
podcaster.
There's so many different use cases with that. That's really neat. It's funny that you bring this up, because I was just in a meeting today with one of the women in my mastermind, Wedding Pro Insiders, Regina from Weddings by Regina Marie. And this bot joined our Zoom meeting. And I'm like, Regina, what is going on here? And she was like, oh yeah, that's my, it takes notes. It's just, you don't have to let it in. And I let it in. I just thought it was so fascinating that now here we have this opportunity for AI to help, like you said, support the mundane tasks that are important for us to do either in business or client experience. But I think a lot of times we make excuses for not getting them done, especially meeting notes, which is so important for planners or really any wedding industry pro, photographer, florist. You meet with a client digitally, virtually, and then to sit down and type up all those notes, that is such a pain. It takes time. There's so many more important tasks on your plate. You're not a secretary. You don't want to, do data entry. So having some of these tools to do it for you is awesome, and it's going to make you look good.
Right, exactly. Because 6 months down the line, when you need to like remember what you said, that's going to be so helpful to have. That's why we want to take those notes and send those follow-up emails so we remember these conversations. Because I mean, as wedding professionals, we're not juggling one client at a time. Like, we have many clients on the books, but we want to provide an experience to our clients that make them think that they're our only client. And
Oh, yeah.
these tools are really giving you ways to do that. And then
Mhm.
also to make yourself a better, experience, because you can go back and actually do the things that you said you were going to do because you remember them. So
Yeah.
it's all really
About that.
important. Yeah, I know, right?
About that part.
And what things are falling through the cracks right now? Are we not blogging? Are we not sharing? Are we not sharing our expertise in the industry because it's so overwhelming? Again, these tools are there to really kind of give you that jolt of caffeine and really help you create that experience, whether that be in the education side or to your one-on-one clients or even your coaching clients. So much opportunity there. The other area I want to talk about when it comes to AI and wedding planners is in media. So we're talking about photo, video, and audio. Now, this is going to be a little different because, you're not always generating, photo, video, and, audio stuff for your clients, but there's tools out there that are being used to read audiobooks. So instead of somebody sitting in a studio and recording an audiobook, these tools are generating audiobooks for them. What would that look like if you could create like a private podcast for your clients that book with you? And it's basically just blog posts that you've already written, but it comes in this like really nice, 5-episode series, but you didn't have to do anything other than give it the blog post. So there's opportunity there. There's also AI tools that will help your audio sound more clear and crisp. And that will just make that experience even better if you are in these meetings real time and you have a screaming child in the background, which, we're all there.
It happens.
I'm one of them.
It happens.
Now, the other one that I think is really interesting for the world of wedding planners, and I want to tiptoe around this lightly because if there's any photographers out there listening, I know I could ruffle some feathers, but I am a photographer myself. But if it's used correctly and legally, I think it can be a really impactful tool for wedding planners. So there's a tool that I am personally a huge fan of. I use it myself. I send my personal photos to it. That's how much I love this tool. It's called Imagine AI, and it is a AI photo editing software. So how this tool works is I created an AI profile with it. I had to send it thousands of my edited photos for it to create my AI profile. So I went through that whole process. It generated this profile for me. Now, this is different than a Lightroom preset because it's actually taking lighting, skin tone, the situation that they're in to create these accurate edits for these photos. Now, where it becomes really interesting for wedding planners is that there are professional talent profiles available for anyone to use in the tool.
Wow.
So, if you had taken your own photos of your own event, like let's say your own design, or maybe like you wanted some different pictures of the seating chart that you created, or maybe this tablescape, like what's the difference between a tall centerpiece and a short centerpiece, all of these different things. You take these photos, you could theoretically send them over to Imagine AI, choose a talent profile that fits your vibe, and you would have professionally edited photos at your disposal.
Wow.
So really great opportunity. It's not the same as just sticking a Lightroom preset on it. It's actually going to be like a really nice curated photo. Now, where you can get in trouble, and this is what you don't want to do, is don't take your photographer's photos and throw it in there. Those are not your photos to edit. That is not legal unless you have explicit written permission. Please do not edit any of your professionals' photos. And this is also not an opportunity to follow around the photographer, take your own pictures of the bride and groom, edit them, and send them to the couple. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
You as a planner don't like it when other people try to do your job. So don't do the photographer's job. So
100%. Yeah.
Use it with discretion. But sometimes you don't get the photos back of the centerpiece that you had, spent all this time on the design, or maybe some part of the day. And this is a really great opportunity to get that professional type of photography and professional type of editing with an automated tool. So
yeah, I think it's cool. I see some great use cases. We live in a now world where If you're not posting what you're doing right now, then you're already too late and the world's moved on from whatever it is you're doing.
Yes.
And it feels increasingly important to, in real time, share the events that you're producing or the art that you're creating or the things that you're a part of. Because you don't, if you're a florist or a planner or insert the blank, right?
Mm.
You have to wait a few weeks, sometimes months, to get the professional photos back from your photography friends. So if you can take images and show your work in real time or right after it's completed, all the better, which you need to be doing. But
Mhm.
also, we're not professional photographers. And so we don't necessarily always know what we're doing. And then we can have this tendency to get hung up on how it looks and how's it going to look in my feed. And I don't need to, everybody here listening
Yeah.
knows exactly what I'm talking about. So this
Totally.
takes that analysis paralysis out of it and gives you an opportunity, if you want to maintain a certain image quality and standard in your marketing, well, here's something that can do it for you.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
And it changes the game. As a photographer myself,
Mm.
I was somebody that did same day slideshows. So before the wedding was over, the planner had 30 plus images of the day in their hands that were my photos. So now, in the past, that took maybe 30 to 45 minutes. I would do it over dinner. Now with this AI tool, I could possibly do it in 5. So
So
there's a
could
lot of opportunities for
photographers use
me.
this?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
absolutely.
this?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is built for photographers, and
Mm.
I will preface this with, it requires a Lightroom catalog, so it's not something that you're just going to like upload on your phone and call it a day. It's going to have a little bit of a learning curve. It will need a computer to do this. But again, if you had your own camera that day and you took some photos, again, make sure you read your contracts and that you're not violating anybody's terms of agreement. But if you have those photos, whether you took them on your phone or on your own camera, you could have a professional edited profile to edit those photos in a way that would probably be better than just you popping in there and trying to figure it out
Sure.
yourself.
Amazing. And professional photographers listening can also use this to edit their images in general, but then also, even if they offer real-time slideshows, this could cut down on the amount of time it takes to put those together.
Totally. So you would still have to upload them the same way. So I actually have what I'm calling my encore wedding in May.
Mm.
I have my encore wedding in May. It's a good friend of ours. I am shooting that wedding, and I will be doing their same day slideshow using Imagine AI, so I can really
Awesome.
time the difference. So
Mm.
for me as a photographer, I 5-star my favorite images in camera as I shoot them. So I would just simply take those images, I would send it over to Imagine, and it is really quick. Like, we're talking like I can get probably 1,000 photos back in 15 minutes. Like,
What?
yeah, it's and they're like accurate, right? They're really good. Is it going to be,
Mm.
am I going to take this and send it to a client directly? Probably not. I'm probably going to go through and make sure that I'm doing my retouching and making sure that it
Yeah.
tells the story of the day and all that good stuff. But we're talking about like that first initial brunt of editing. It
Mm.
goes from days to like minutes. It's wild.
Wow. That's
So
amazing. Definitely,
it
I'm
is.
sure every photographer listening to this who doesn't know about this is now going to figure out how to use this.
Yes, it's
What a great
amazing.
tool. Yeah, I loved
Yes.
everything that you've mentioned and how we can use AI to help the wedding planning process in our wedding industry business. So we talked about content creation, generating that content, admin and communication. You also talked about media and photo. So are there
Mhm.
any potential downsides to AI? Because for anybody who's ever watched Westworld, this is like, there actually is maybe a lot of downsides to
Yeah.
AI. But I'm in all jokes aside, what are some of the downsides or limitations that we need to know about?
Yeah, totally. No, we're not having an iRobot experience here, right? That's not our goal here. We don't want, I mean, so that's a whole different topic, but
Sure.
downsides for the wedding industry professionals. There are absolutely downsides. One is if it's not used well, it
Mm.
does have a potential to depersonalize your experience.
Mhm.
So when it comes to using any tools in your business, there are times when I think you can have a very depersonalized experience. Like, I don't care if you know that it's an automated reminder that your invoice is due. Like, I'm okay with that. And I
Yeah.
kind of want that system to be there just to like let them know that there's a system that's monitoring them. But that, you know, maybe that experience, like that touch point midway, maybe I want that to be a little bit more personal. I'm not going to necessarily just like let a chatbot take over and like the entire communication experience with my client be AI. So I also think like comes for content creation, blog posts, chatbots, use it to help you get past the mundane so you can spend your time on that one-on-one interaction and that experience. So if not used well, depersonalization is a potential downside. There's also a margin of error because it is technology. Now, there's always a margin in error because, humans, we're humans.
Yeah.
But when you fully rely on technology, sometimes it's really easy just to put up your blinders and not even like think about checking it. And that's where people can get in trouble with technology. So just keep in mind that just like any other technology, it does have an opportunity for malfunctioning and for issues. So if this is something that you want to be fully like aware of and you're constantly watching it, you probably should not be using automation or AI for that piece of the process. Also, these tools can be expensive. We already pay for all of these subscriptions. We have all of these tools and all of these software. These would be adding tools to our toolkit. Some of them are going to be absolutely worth their money because you're saving so much time and energy and you're getting rid of those things that you don't want to do, but it is going to add up expense-wise. So those are a few things, that we're all going to have to consider and really kind of do a cost-benefit analysis if it's worth it or not.
What's cool about ChatGPT for right now is that it's free. So right now you can use it for free. I think they're starting to offer a paid version or a version where you might get access to new features quicker or things like that. But eventually I don't think it will be free.
Yeah. No, it's too popular that they know that they have a gold mine. Like,
sure.
And they've already talked about GPT-4. I don't know if you've seen anything about
the
new version. The new version.
You want to share with us?
Sure. So this new version can take image input and use that to create its content. So for example, the one example that I saw was they took a picture of the inside of a refrigerator and they created a bunch of recipes with the items inside of your refrigerator.
What?
Right? So think about that in the wedding world. What does that look like for us? Like, could we take a picture of a color palette and then it generates me a floral proposal of what flowers are in season with those color tones in seconds? Like, I don't have to go do the research to see if peonies are available in Texas in, September. I can just, take a picture and they'll be like, oh, it is, like, give you like a whole breakdown of what's available. What does that look like for design? Like, can you take a picture of a room and it creates like an initial design for you, or maybe 5 initial designs for you to let your client kind of pick the path that you want to go down? There's so much opportunity for this, and it's going to be really exciting to see what it does in the next few years.
One of these questions that's bubbling up to the surface right now for me is, why is it free? If it's free and it's so good at what it's doing, then it's got to be doing something that's making it money. And the things that we're putting into it must be being used for some financial gain. I'm a capitalist, like 100%.
Yeah.
So I just don't believe in like doing stuff for, like, people don't do things for free out of the kindness of their heart most of the time. What do you think about that?
So I think this is also, I totally agree with you. One, I think they're either trying to get us hooked to it, so we will pay for it. I think that's a big piece of this. Like, for example, if, us as users who really lean on social media, if all of a sudden it became paid, I feel like a lot of us would pay for it because we're like, oh, that's like our livelihood. Like,
it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah. Yes, with Meta Verified.
Yeah, it's happening.
And you're going to be, I will not be surprised to see how many blue check marks start showing up on my feed, because
listen, bitch, I'm going to be one of them.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit.
Exactly. Well, they're also saying that's going to give you a boost in the algorithm. And like, how many of us like are already bending over backwards to try to get our content seen by our potential clients? Like, this is a big deal. And they also offer security features like help with imposters, like, those like accounts that create accounts. Didn't you just have one of those that like try to be you?
Oh my God, I had a mail order bride website.
Oh, that's right.
is using my image, my bio, and linking to my real social media as one of their expert like the editor of this website. It's a picture of me from my Instagram, a selfie I took, and it's the most bizarre thing. I actually applied for Instagram verification again and tried to use that as an example, and they were like, bitch, no.
Oh no.
I'm like,
well,
listen,
maybe you just need to lean into this and like make a blog post about your mail orders.
it's so annoying. I'm like, what else do I need to do? I have a book in Target. Like my book is sold at Barnes and Noble and Target. What else does a girl need to be to get a blue check? I guess more. It needs more. So I will be buying my blue check. I don't give a shit.
Yes. Yeah. I'm with you. And just again, like, is that going to be the like determination of like, is this a real business or is it not? Is it a hobbyist versus a pro? Like, it's going to change, and Meta's going to get our money. And I think this is going to be the same with, ChatGPT and a lot of these other tools. A lot of these other tools are already paid. But I also think this is also a good like reminder to check the privacy policy. How much of this content do you actually own, and how much of it do they now own? Like, you're sending all this information in. At what point is it theirs versus yours? So there could be a lot of data mining going on. Again, it's different for every single tool. So just keep that in mind, that you might not want to be throwing in all of your personal information and all of your clients' information. And it's going to be interesting to see how that changes, especially how like the legal system catches up in the next few years.
Oh, yeah. I have some questions around that for you. This is how we're going to kind of wrap up the episode. But I want to know, for the person listening, for the Wedding Pro listening, who's just like, what is all of this? I'm not very tech savvy. How can they incorporate AI into their business?
So I totally think that you can. And the reason why I think even the most untech savvy of people can do this is because this is not an all or nothing transformation. If you decide that you want to dip your toe into AI, that doesn't mean you have to do all of these things. Start with one thing. Start with ChatGPT. Log in, see what it's all about. Have a conversation with it. Ask it to plan your meals next week. Really kind of give that experience and kind of go through it, give it a chance to see what it's all about. If you're a Canva Pro user already, you already have this built into your docs. So jump onto Canva, try it out. One of my favorite tools to recommend to somebody that wants to experience this for the first time and maybe needs a little bit of extra handholding is Jasper AI. I love Jasper. It is made for marketing and content type templates is what they call it. So you log in and it has a whole list of templates. Like, are we creating a blog post? Are we creating an email? Are we generating ideas? Do we need to simplify something, or do you need a description for your product on Amazon? Like, it has all of these different tools. And when you click on the tool you want, so like, let's say we clicked on Pinterest description. So I click on Pinterest description. I love Jasper because it gives you boxes that you have to fill in. So it's very clear on what it needs. It's like, what's the name of your business? What's the name of the product that this link is promoting? What are the things that you want to be ranked for on a search? Tell me about this product. It kind of asks you for all of those things. And then based off of your input, it will generate you 3 or 4 different responses. So I really like that tool, and I really suggest it for the newbie or for somebody that's a little intimidated by it, because it does really guide you through the process and helps you create exactly what you're looking for while using it.
Yeah, I like that because I feel like too, you have more of a hand in what's being created. And so you feel better about using the copy that you're being given because it's more personal to you. So yeah, I think those are 2 great tips. Love ChatGPT. My copywriter uses Jasper AI, and I've used it a few times too. It's easy to use. I love the prompts. I think that's a great suggestion. Let's talk about more downsides to AI, because I think there's some ethical considerations that wedding industry professionals need to think about. And I also think that this is going to change the overall landscape and how our businesses operate, maybe not for always for the good. We can see the good in it, and we're like, oh, this is going to help us. Oh, this is going to save us time. And then, 20 years from now, we're all out of a job. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
That's
Oh,
what your crazy uncle on Facebook wants you to believe. And he might not be that far off base, honestly. I don't know. So my first
right.
question to you, Dawn, is what are some of the ethical considerations that we need to keep in mind when using AI?
So the first thing I want to say is I'm not a lawyer. So this
Fair.
advice is worth what you're paying for.
Zero.
So
And you're paying
now
nothing.
yeah, exactly. And not you're paying nothing, but it's a tequila shot, nothing. I do have a friend of mine. Her name is Girja with
Mm,
GPB Law. She is amazing and she talks about AI in the legal system a lot. She's an attorney.
awesome.
So if you're looking for like some really great resources, I highly recommend her. She has a YouTube channel. So check her out.
Amazing.
But I think we're going to see things change as the legal system catches up
Mm,
because technology moves way faster than the legal system. And the legal system is kind of like, what is going on? Like all of these things are coming to the forefront. One thing that we do know is the Copyright Office has deemed that anything created 100% by artificial intelligence is not copyrightable. So there's like
mm,
this whole appeal going on for somebody that created a graphic novel. And Girja talks all about this in one of her podcast episodes or on her YouTube channel. But we've gotten to the point where they've already said, okay, if it's AI generated, it's not yours. So where is the point where it's mine versus where it's not? Like if
right.
AI edits something for me, is it? And we don't really have answers to that yet. So I think as that changes and the legal system becomes more clear on how these tools can be used, we're going to get a lot more solid advice. But for me, this is why I firmly stand on the grounds of like, if you're planning on just saying, like, write me a blog post and you're going to copy it and paste it into your website and call it a day, I think that's where we're going to start getting in trouble because we don't
Mm,
necessarily know where it's getting this information. We know it's coming from the internet, but what does that mean? Is it really creating its own opinions about something, or is it pulling bits and
mm,
pieces from other posts around the internet?
right.
One thing right now, so Microsoft Bing, the search engine, they have introduced a AI tool to their platform. And one thing I really like about Bing's AI is that they cite where the information came from.
Mm,
So if you say like, tell me about wedding trends in 2023, and it'll spit you out like a 4-paragraph answer, it'll actually cite and give you a link to the places where it got that information. So I think that's one really great way that things are going to change and we're going to start to see that. Like, are we using our own words? Are we taking somebody else's? But if you're worried about something, then don't do it. You know, this
oh,
is
yeah.
use your discretion. And I think we're going to get some clarity here in the next few years, but use it as a tool to do the mundane tasks, to help you get past that writer's block, to get you past that analysis paralysis. And I think you're going to be in okay shape moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. I'd be curious to see how the legal implications of using AI begin to bubble to the surface. And I don't think we're going to have to wait too long. I know that the legal system is probably trying to figure this all out. I have no doubt that they will, and that we will
Yes.
start to see um, come more conversations around the ethical and legal use of AI copy or insert the blank. I also wonder, and maybe this is part of our next question, which is how you think AI is going to change the overall landscape of the wedding industry. But one thing that's popping up for me is like this sea of sameness. So in a previous podcast interview with Alea Harris, we talked about how to differentiate yourself in the wedding industry because everybody looks the fucking same. Everybody's doing the same thing. We're all learning the same shit. We're all buying the same courses. We're all talking the same way. We're all vying for the same customer. And so there's this kind of benchmark that everybody is sitting on and then doing things very similarly.
Mhm.
How is AI going to make that even worse if we're all just putting the same shit into ChatGPT and then using the same stuff in our Instagram and our blogs? Is this even an opportunity for people who are vehemently anti-AI to really shine by using their own voice and not being sucked into this? I don't know. Just something that I think about.
You know, when I had a conversation about this with a photographer, and I feel like this falls into the same category of film photography.
Hmm.
And like when digital came out, the film photographers were like, "Oh no, like But guess what? Now people pay a premium to have a film photographer. It's not gone. It's actually a art that people will invest in. So is that gonna kind of go where this is, like, AI is gonna shift? Is it gonna do that? We already pay more money for organic produce at the grocery store. You know, what is that going to change how we do things? But I do think you're right. I think that bench that we all sit on is just going to be a little bit higher, and I think it's just going to really emphasize the fact that as wedding professionals, our interactions with clients and how we make them feel in their process is really what's going to be the differentiator between us. How we use our voice. You know, for me, like, the first thing you saw on my wedding photography website was like you, me, and the dance floor. I'm the one with the camera, and it was all about the party and all these things. And I did that to really attract the bride that was about to have the best damn time of her life and probably not remember the night, and really detract the bride that wanted a dry wedding. So
I gotcha. You want to do shot.
So,
you want to do a tequila shot with your bride.
Exactly. And I've done that many a time, right? So but that's because that's what was important to me. I wanted my clients to know that, like, if they wanted somebody that was always appropriate and that wasn't going to curse and make dirty jokes during their wedding day, like, if you don't want that person, I'm not your person. And no AI tool is going to change that. So I think it's just really going to make that an even more important part of the process. We're going to use AI to do things, to do the admin, to manage our tasks, to make our experience better. But at the end of the day, how we make our clients feel and finding the right personality fit for our clients is crucial.
Do you think that people can totally resist AI? Do you think that they're in the wedding industry, you can be completely not involved in it at all and still be successful? Or do you think that we need to adapt in some way in order to stay relevant or even get ahead?
I think it's going to make the to-do list longer. So a lot of us, when we started, it was about blogging, right? Like, oh, you have to blog, and blogging's not dead. Like, it's a big part of SEO. It's still there. I still get thousands of hits to blog posts. Like, it's still happening.
Yep.
But so we had blogging on our plates, and then all of a sudden we had Instagram on our plates, and then all of a sudden we had Reels on our plates, and then all of a sudden we had TikTok. Like, the other things never went away. And I think what AI is going to do is it's going to take those tasks and make them almost more mandatory, because people are getting them done now. People are tackling those blog posts and that social media management and all of these things. So it's going to make that bar a little bit higher, and that can be really overwhelming. I don't think it's impossible for somebody to succeed without that, but I think there's going to be more importance on showing up the same way that the other people are, whether or not you're using the tool to help you do that. So I like to think of the tools as a way for me to spend more time with my family than to, am I doing this to make more money? Like, no, I'm doing this so I can spend less time actually doing this myself, to keep myself relevant, to keep the bar high, so I can go be with my babies. And I think you're going to have to decide whether that's worth it or not to you. Or if maybe blogging's not for you, then that's fine. But you're also going to experience, you can't not blog and be like, why isn't this working for me? There's a lot of data out there, and I think we're going to see that evolve and change, because it's just going to be so much more content.
Oh yeah, I think it's only just beginning, and the bar is already being set and raised, because early adopters have adopted and they're already a few paces ahead using it. And then also with the strategies that they're using, with it. So I completely agree. Dawn, you're at the forefront of all things tech for wedding industry pros and especially photographers. I know that you've mentioned a few tools here. You have an amazing list in our prep sheet, which is just too long to go over. So I'm hoping that our listeners who want the most up-to-date information on AI tools that they can check out, that you've checked out, that you think are interesting or cool, or maybe even that you use yourself, where can they get that?
So I have created a free resource. It's called the AI Toolkit for Creatives, and you can find it at techsavvycreative.com/AI. And on this resource, I have listed all of the things that we've talked about here, plus some. And as new tools pop up, which seems to happen every week, and I have a chance to play with them, I will be adding them to this list. This is also where any blog posts or social media posts related to AI will be put as well. So it's kind of your one-stop shop. But again, this is a free resource. So go check it
Oh,
out
it's so
and
good.
sign up for it.
Yay, good. It's so good. I'm glad that you have sort of created a place where all of this can live and that we can even go back to it to get your thoughts maybe on new technologies that are emerging. But you've got a one-stop shop for all of the AI tools that Dawn knows about that she thinks could support you in your business. She's not an attorney and she by no means wants you to give your data and information away. So be an adult. You get to make your own
decisions.
choices. Yeah. And you can find that at techsavvycreative.com/AI. I'm also going to link to it in the show notes so that you can go directly there and get all the information. Dawn, how can people connect with you outside of this resource? Where do you want them to go and find you? Is it Instagram, TikTok? Where are you living these days?
I am most active on Instagram. So you can find me at Tech Savvy Creative on You can find me the tequila. You can find me at Tech Savvy Creative on Instagram. I'm also Tech Savvy Creative on TikTok and also Tech Savvy Creative on YouTube. So
that makes
YouTube. A big goal for us this year, as soon as I get my youngest daughter into childcare, is to really ramp up that YouTube channel. So keep an eye on that. Subscribe there too, and we'll be posting content as the world changes.
Oh my God, that is going to be like my favorite channel ever. Are you going to like break down, like do tech talks and break down software and hardware for us?
Absolutely. You know, I've always had this like unspoken dream of being a tech blogger, and I'm like, oh, I'm actually living it. Like it is here. So absolutely.
And there's so much space for someone like you to talk about technology, how it relates to a creative business, how it might relate to a wedding industry business. I mean, I know there are a lot of tech people on YouTube, but there's no Dawn.
Yeah, exactly.
And you are able to break things down in such a simple, relatable way where it feels way less scary. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
My goal when I started Tech Savvy Creative was to be a friendly corner of the internet to ask the scary questions. I get these DMs all the time. They're like, dumb question. And then they ask me a question. But when it comes to technology, the only dumb question is the one that's not asked. So go in here. Like, I'm here. I'm a resource. I'm friendly. I promise. And it's my goal to create things that are easy to learn about and consume, even if you don't feel like you're the most tech savvy person.
Oh, Dawn, you're the best. Thank you for spending so much time with us today, for breaking down AI, making it feel less scary, opening this conversation. I feel like we might have to do this again as things advance and we've got maybe an AI report with Dawn on the podcast, something fun like that.
I like it.
Thanks
tech
again
and tequila.
No, tech and tequila. Maybe there's something in that. That could be fun for your YouTube.
Tequila Tuesdays. Let's do
my God, Tech and Tequila Tuesdays. I love it. Well, thanks again for being such a great guest and for celebrating the 100th episode of the podcast. We'll see you next time.